I'll dream until I make it real, and all I see is.
Welcome to Mentorship Mondays with Michelle and Maren. We are back again with another spiritual conversation, talking about all things metaphysical, all things spirit, all things mediumship. You name it, we got it. We're a one-stop shop. Hello, Maren.
Shop. That's right.
Yeah. Do you have on my website? We're a one-stop soul shop.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
Love that.
Because it's
That's
a little bit of everything, right? It's not just one thing. And that's it for most of us. We have a little bit of everything. And
Yep.
that's the way it should be, I think. How are you?
Yeah. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah. I'm good. Did you catch the we talked about this last week, I think. Did you catch that planetary alignment yesterday?
I didn't
No?
look. But it's going on for like a few,
Okay.
I think all month. When I
Is
read
it?
it online. Yeah, I think it's at its peak. It was at its peak yesterday, but
Yeah.
they're going to be kind of in alignment for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, so yesterday. Okay, very interesting that yesterday was the alignment.
Yeah, it
Interesting
is very
things
interesting.
happened. Yes.
I agree, because yesterday was a very interesting day, and I felt it.
Mm-hmm.
I could feel
Mm-hmm.
a difference in energy. And I
Mm-hmm.
know, we were talking about it, and some people were saying, "Oh no, it's debunked. It's not real. It's not really happening." And then we did a little research, and I think you looked some stuff up too last week. Did you not?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I forget. Did we talk about
I
this? Were
think
we on the show?
we did. I think
Yeah.
the fact that it happens once every 4 billion years is debunked because of like measurements or something like that, but they
Okay.
are all in alignment. Yes.
Yes. And I
That
did
is true.
see last night. So the I think it was whatever your desk time is and whatever your time zone is around the world is when you should be able to see it. So
Okay.
we went out for dinner last night for Rob's birthday, and as
Happy
we got
birthday.
out, yes, his birthday was last week, but we weren't able to get together and celebrate until Saturday. So when we went out, I was specifically looking, and so what I saw, which looked like a gigantic star, and the whole sky was clear, and there was just one big gigantic star that was like shining. You could see the points all coming off of it.
Do you
And of
know what
course,
it was?
I don't know. I'm assuming that that's what it was, because the way that I was seeing like prior, I had in my head, I'm like, oh, are we actually going to see the planet? Like, are we going to be able to see them? But it wasn't
You
like that.
are.
Oh,
You're
really?
able to see them all, and then with a telescope you can see like after the asteroid belt. So you should be able to see Mercury, Venus, Earth, obviously, and then
Yeah.
Mars.
I'm going to have to take a better look. And I'm
Yeah.
wondering, my daughter has a
So,
telescope, so we should probably
okay,
get that
I
out and look.
have this app. I gotta see what it is. It's Sky Viewer or Star Viewer. I'm good. Sky View.
Sky view.
When you
Okay.
do Sky View,
Yeah. Okay. Ooh.
so it shows you what stars are. So based on where my phone is the stars and the constellations. And then you can click on a star. Let me try to find one like this one. And then it'll tell you what it is, what star it is.
Oh,
Or
okay.
maybe I
I'm going to
click.
try that.
Oh,
Because I mean,
that's the constellation that I clicked on. Yeah.
what I saw last night, it was definitely not like just I don't even want to say just a star. Stars are amazing. It
It was big.
wasn't, it was big. It was big, so it was
A
definitely something.
planet.
But
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm gonna have to look a little bit better, and I will report back. But if
Okay.
anybody
Yes.
else saw something, like, comment and tell us what you saw, or if
Yeah.
you have pictures or anything. I'm so curious.
I will look too. Don't go out much. It's a little cold.
It was.
My
Let me
Oh yeah,
it
you
was
tell me.
cold, all right. Like we were, and I think that our weather is probably in
Similar.
line pretty much.
Hmm.
We were in Celsius with the wind chill factor at night last week. It was like 40 below, -40 Celsius.
I don't know what
Yeah,
that is, but ours was -13 Fahrenheit. So we
yeah,
had 2 days of late start because of the weather. And
yeah.
of course, my husband all week was out of town in sunny San Diego. And he would
Mm.
FaceTime me wearing like shorts and a t-shirt. And I would like FaceTime him when I'm on a walk, and like literally I would have like frozen snot like dripping out of my frozen out of my nose, and like just like literally I couldn't move my lips because they were frozen, talking to him.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, it was really, really cold. And our internet, we had our internet down for 2.5 days.
Oh no, because of the
Yeah, and
weather,
so
like it
yeah,
froze the
because the
cable
cold,
cords. Oh my
the cold.
gosh.
I'm not exactly sure the technical reasons why it happens. And it wasn't like our whole city. It was in an area. It was in our area. And so
Yeah,
we've had problems before. Like if we have a lot of wet, a lot of rain, a lot of wind,
yeah.
that can happen. But and I do have one personal announcement I want to share before I tell
Okay.
you something that happened this week. So last week I had my 10-year release appointment from the cancer clinic. So I'm officially released as a patient. Yeah,
Gosh,
yeah,
that's so exciting. Oh my
yeah.
gosh, Michelle, congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
wonderful news.
Thank you.
What a milestone.
It
Oh,
was a big one. And here's the
yeah.
crazy thing. Okay, here's the crazy thing.
Okay.
So my appointment was the morning of what morning was it? It was Thursday. So it was what, 23rd?
Yeah.
And it wasn't supposed to be that day. It ended up getting switched. So it wasn't supposed to be that day. And I remember it was Thursday because our internet went out the day before. So I was using all of the Wi-Fi signal at the hospital to send messages while I was waiting. But anyway, so 23. Now I'm going to do a little numerology. Okay. So it was the
Okay.
23rd. It was, I was in room number 5. So 23 is a 5. I was in room number
Okay.
5. Okay.
Yep.
Now, I can't remember exactly what I have. I kept the slip of paper because I worked it all out. But in short, everything turned out to be number 5s and number 9s, and including my patient number of, like, they call you by number, not by name at the clinic. So even my patient number added up to it. So here we are. So number 5 is transformation. Number 9 is like the endings and the new beginning. Okay. So here I am in the year 10, which is the new beginning. And I am adding up my patient number to a number 9, which is endings and conclusions. And I am stepping through the doorways of number 5, which is change, transformation,
I
everything.
have
It,
goosebumps all
yes,
over. Oh
it
my
was,
gosh.
I wrote
Wow.
it out because eventually I'll add that into all of my stories, and
Wow.
my book is a bunch of stories
Mm,
of every,
wow.
so I don't even
Yeah.
know how that will all come together. I just keep writing and writing, and one of these days it'll be done. But it was just absolutely magical. And I was there, and it was interesting because I joined, they asked me a couple of years ago if I would be, was a year ago? No, it was a year ago, not 2 years ago. I was part of another study earlier, but last year I was asked if I would be part of a study that would follow me for 5 years afterwards, like after my release, to find out why I don't have reoccurrence. So, like, they're following the habits and the changes so that they can include it and put in documentation to be able to supply all of, the evidence of, like, what do you do in your life? How do you And it's really fascinating because all the questionnaires and everything are like, do you do meditation? Are you part of a spiritual program? You know? And I felt very drawn to doing that. And of course, the benefit is, although I don't go and see a doctor, I go once a year and have my blood work done and that sort of thing. And anyway, the lady hasn't seen me for a year. And we've talked and exchanged emails. And she comes in while I was getting my blood drawn and she walked right past me. And then she comes back around and then she looks at the number on my board and she goes, Shell? And I'm like, yeah. And she says, you look so different. She goes, you must be doing really well because you just glow. She goes, you are glowing. And it was just like, because I don't think I look different. I just, I feel it. I feel that.
It's
I
the
just,
inside. It's
yeah, yeah,
the wholeness and the
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I feel good. So it was just a really nice confirmation. And it felt like this proper shaking hands at that time of my life. So I
Wow.
did a lot of writing that day and just kind of went through and reflected all of the changes, all of the lessons, all of the tears and the frustration and the good things and all the positive things that came from it. Because at the end of the day, it was that diagnosis, everything that led up to it, and that diagnosis that I would say is the demarcation point for me of making a major change in my life and really starting to look at me. Why am I the way I am? What do I really want for myself? And what am I doing that is not helping anymore? What am I doing to sabotage my own growth? All of those questions. And it's been a long journey, but I really feel like physically, mentally, emotionally, it was like a cleanse. And even though I've not been carrying all of that with me, of that journey in the way of a heaviness like I did at one time, I carry it as, well, I guess, as kind of like when you graduate university and you look back at all those, like, all the testing and the studying and all the things that you did and all the tough stuff. And you're like, wow, like I'm so grateful. And I feel like, wow, I really did this and I've got this certificate to show, or I've got this credential in my name, which is really to prove all the hard work I did. Right. So for me, it was like this release and being told, you're no longer a patient. You're no longer a patient. You are now no longer being followed as a cancer patient. It was for me this, wow, like I did it. I did it. And it felt so validating. But it's also something that I can carry in a way that I feel is representative of we do have things that we go through, and all of us. Like, I'm not saying this is special to me. This is all of us. We have diagnoses, losses, grief, unbelievable situations that we can never anticipate that gives us the opportunity to change our life. And it's up to us to be able to take it. And do I say anything came easily? No, but things got easier over time. But I really hold that as something very special, that when somebody says, I don't know how I will ever get through this, no matter what the results are, to me, it's like, yes, you can. Yes, you can. 'Cause if I can do it, if I can do it, if I can get through it and make my life better, anybody can, and that's what's most important to me. So that was a really big day. So I wanted to be able to share that and thank
That's amazing.
everybody that's been along this entire journey with me, because it's been so supportive and so helpful.
Well, we are
And I wouldn't know
so,
you, Maren, if this didn't happen. If I didn't have the
that's
cancer
true.
clinic, we wouldn't have met. Maybe we
That's
would have met in a
true.
different way, but yeah,
Yeah. I feel like we're
yeah,
destined to
yeah,
have met in this life.
I agree.
But Um, but we're so happy to support you. And in my head, when you were saying that, it just reminded me of the song "The Climb." Have you ever heard that? It's the
Yes,
climb.
yes,
I don't want to
yes,
sing for
yeah.
my man. I'm actually
You'd
a
laugh,
horrible singer.
you would laugh if you knew how many theme songs I have for myself. I
Aww.
do, I do, I do. Yes, I am that cheesy. I do, I do.
You need a theme song though,
Yes,
right? You need like
I've
that
got theme songs for
motivation.
different things. For
Yes.
different
And
things.
I feel like every theme song has, and just like every good story, it has like that the challenge, right? What's
Yeah,
the obstacle? What's the
yeah.
challenge? Everybody has gonna have, nobody
Oh,
has a easy breezy
yes,
existence.
and
Everybody's
that's
got a
why
challenge.
the whole way of working through really the manifestation of change has been practicing to view my whole life as a movie. It's
Yeah.
looking like the character, the story, the book.
Yeah.
Who am I and where is this character going?
You know what always that always motivates me when I see like the epic tales where it's like that main character has a long journey and lots of ups and lots of downs, and I always like will put myself in their shoes and just be like, wow, like,
Yeah,
to think that this person went through this and they got out of that. And if I'm ever in a place in my life where I feel this low, like I can think back on that character and go, wow, they got out of that. I can get out of it too. Or, look at
yeah,
like,
yeah,
there's just
yeah,
so much more. Like, and I feel like the lows feel so low because we're just these emotional beings and we are so encompassed by our emotions, but
yeah,
it does pass and we do climb out of it. And there's always another story to tell.
yeah,
And so to always,
yeah,
just
yeah,
hold on to that is really important. That reminds me of you, like your
yeah. Oh, I
story
agree.
and
Yeah,
the many, many chapters of your story are
yeah,
unbelievable.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's definitely been a crazy ride. And
oh my gosh. And it's just,
yeah.
and it's not over. It's not over,
Oh no, it's
Michelle.
not. It's
Like,
not.
there's
I really
more.
I really truly feel that right now is like, how do I explain the energy right now? There's like kind of a bubbling excitement that I can feel. And there's a lot of unknowns because it's kind of like being in that in between space, like I've talked about a lot for
Yeah.
many of us. It's like I feel it. I know what's coming, but I don't have all the validation yet in the physical.
Yeah.
But I've got
I
lots of
feel
signs.
like every year, like at the new year, I always try to like feel the energy, and see what the year is going to bring. And I remember last year my husband's like, this is the year, this is the year. And I was like, I don't feel it. Like I think this is another building year. Like
Yeah,
I don't feel it. I don't
yeah,
feel like it's bad, but I just don't feel
yeah.
like this is the year. And then this year I was like, oh, this is the year. Like you can feel it. Like there
Yeah,
is like
yeah,
something's gonna land. I just
yeah,
feel it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't know in what
And
way, but
that's it too, right? Because it's it's so hard because, and this has been spoken to me by other people too, is because we have this physical world and we're looking at the surroundings around us, and it takes practice to not look at what's around you as being the evidence of what's to come. The evidence of what's to come is within you. And that's why if you feel like you need to prove it to other people, so if you're always wanting to focus on, no, but I know this, I'm getting these signs, I feel it. And then when you bring that outside yourself and you share it to other people that may not be in the same space as you, they're not seeing things. We all have our own frequency and validation and feelings that as we begin to trust more and more, we trust in our universal connection, we trust in our connection to spirit, all of the things that we built, it is that connection that builds the strength and confidence to know that the validation outside of us is, I mean, it's lovely when it happens, but it is not the make or break of what solidifies what is to come. Because if you're in a place where your trust in your journey is shaky, so that doesn't mean, like, having trust in your journey does not mean that you know exactly what's going to happen or how it's going to come together. What it means is that you can look back at what you've already experienced and go, okay, when I feel shaky, I'm going to go back and I'm going to go through. This is why writing things down is so important. That's why keeping a journal or keeping something, because you'll forget. You'll forget when synchronicities and things take place and you get so excited and then life carries on, you forget. So that's why I've got those books way back 10 years ago to keep track of the things that were happening, because I would forget. Remember bigger moments, but would forget all the little details. And so when you can go back and you can look at your journey and you can go, oh yeah, remember how that came together? Like, that's wild. I could have never imagined that. Or I remember getting those signs and then boom, this happened. I couldn't have even created that. Like, I couldn't have orchestrated that myself. Right? When you really look at how things come together in a way that is beyond physical control, because it has nothing to do with control at all. So when you can look at those things, that helps strengthen that faith. And that's where the faith and everything really steps in, because it's no longer, I believe, it's I know. And we get to the point where I know what I know for me. I know what is right for me. And this is what I call spiritual stubbornness, which is,
Spiritual stubbornness.
yes,
Okay.
and I mean this in the most positive way, not in any kind of toxic way. I mean it as getting to the point where you let go of the, what if I'm making this up? What if I'm believing a pipe dream? What if I'm just delusional? And I think these things are going to happen because I'm like millions of other people. Why would this happen to me? Why would my dreams come true?
Right.
So it's a reminder of, well, first of all, why not? Second of all, what has already transpired to get me to this point? That reflection. And then,
that is so good. Yeah.
right? Am I grounded? Am I doing life? Am I engaging in life? Or am I dreaming up this stuff and kind of working on the inside and doing nothing in the physical? Because nothing will come forward if you aren't putting actions into it. Because the inspiration, all the things can come through and we can work with, multi dimensions and all of these things. And there is a level to that happens. But as human beings, which we chose to be here in this life to bring those things into the physical, we have to be able to take action beyond the intention and to take inspired action. So asking ourselves, okay, so am I doing that? Are there things that this is my dream? Are there things in my life right now that I could be doing? And here's the question that I ask myself. That version of me that is in this dream that I've created, that is in this life that I've created, how does that version of me think? What does that version of me do every day? Does that version wake up and go, oh, I'm tired, go back to bed? Right? does that version of me say, I'll do it tomorrow? Maybe my old version did. Maybe my old version said that because that's where I was at. But I remind myself, I've learned different. I
Yeah.
remind myself of the changes that I could make. And so I look at that version of myself and I say, what is most practical for me to do today to be that version of myself? And sometimes that is in the thinking, because really the thinking is,
You are blowing my mind. I
yeah,
absolutely love that. What
yeah,
would the future version of me do? Okay,
yeah.
and this plays exactly with what I wanted to talk to you about today.
I
So
love it when
thank you
that
for
happens.
bringing, I know. So think like literally like you couldn't
Yeah,
meld two topics together
good,
more perfectly.
good, good.
Yay. So I saw there's a news reporter, Hoda Copy,
Yeah,
and she has an Instagram and she said she just found out about this really cool thing. And so I thought I would try it too. So the thing is, have you ever used Chat GTP?
yes, yeah, yeah,
Okay. I love Chat GTP and it never ceases to amaze me with
yeah,
like what it can do
yeah,
and like
yeah,
how it can make your life easier.
yeah. Mhm.
And so she uses ChatGTP with manifestations and affirmations.
Yeah.
And so she says, get together a list of all your affirmations of every or your manifestations, everything that you want to manifest in life. Like go big, go big. Okay. Go big, go small, go everything, but put it
Yeah.
all out there. Okay. And then copy paste that into ChatGTP and say, tell me a story of a day where all of this is true. And ChatGTP will formulate a day in the life of your future self. Okay?
Oh my. Okay. Like,
It
how perfect is that? Yeah. And just so everybody knows, Maren and I did not talk about this beforehand at
no,
all. No.
no. And so like what you were saying, like even so it's like so I did it. I did it
Yeah.
with like some pretty basic
Yeah.
manifestations, but
Yeah.
definitely like some goals that I want for this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I read it and I cried. Like
Yeah.
literally cried because
Yeah.
it's so visual of
Yes.
like what you're trying
Yeah.
to achieve.
Yeah.
Also, I was really surprised by how close it is to what actually already have going. So it
Yes.
makes it seem not as like
Yeah.
so, beyond.
Yeah.
And it makes it so beautiful too. Like this
Yeah.
is pretty close to what I have in my life, but
Yeah.
when we're not like present in the moment, like and you get caught up in the things that frustrate you and the things
Yeah.
like you don't really see how beautiful your life actually is, and then you read it, you're like, it's gonna make me cry. Then you read
Yeah.
your life and you're like, oh my God, that's so beautiful. Like
Yeah.
I'm so close and I just
Yeah.
need to like be present and I just need to do these few steps and I'll be there. um, so I thought I would share mine with you if that's
I would.
okay.
That would be awesome. And I'm gonna write down something that's just popping in that I'm gonna say
Okay.
afterwards because
Okay.
I'm gonna forget this. Um.
Okay. All right. So I'm clicking
Yes,
over to
please.
my ChatGTP tab. So
Okay.
hopefully I stay visible. And if I look like I'm blank staring to everybody, it's because I'm reading
Okay.
ChatGTP.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So I said, um, okay, tell me a story of a day where all of this is true. And I wrote, I'm a speech pathologist. I obviously like I don't need to manifest that. I already am that, but I wanted it for context for ChatGTP.
Okay.
Um, it says, I am fit, I am motivated, I make time for me, I do 30 minutes of reflection and exercise daily. I eat whole foods and well balanced meals. I make time for relationships with my friends. I help people spiritually. I have a large support network of spiritual friends. I spend quality time with my husband. I spend quality time with my husband and two boys, and I go to bed without screens. Okay. So then ChatGPT tells me the story. Okay. It's 5:30 a.m. You wake up to the soft light peeking through your blinds. You feel rested with no rush, and a smile crosses your face. Today is going to be another day where you are fully aligned with your goals. You take a deep breath, stretch your arms, and appreciate how strong and energized your body feels. You've been committed to your morning reflection and exercise routine, and it's becoming second nature. That's already going to make me cry. You
Yeah.
begin with your 30 minutes of reflection in the quiet of the morning with a warm cup of tea in your hand. You sit in your favorite chair and you spend time journaling or meditating, clearing your mind and setting your intentions for the day. You focus on gratitude, your goals, and how you want to show up both as a speech pathologist and as a mother, wife, and friend. This time for yourself is sacred. After your reflection, you spend the next 30 minutes getting your body moving, whether it's yoga, stretching, or quick strength routine. You can feel your body waking up and preparing to take on whatever the day has in store. By 6:30 a.m., you're feeling ready to eat. You eat a wholesome, balanced breakfast, maybe a bowl of oatmeal topped with berries and flaxseed or a veggie-packed omelet. You savor the meal mindful of the nourishment it provides your body. There's no rush, just calm, steady energy as you prepare for the day ahead. You head out by 7:30, your day already grounded and purposeful. Work as a speech pathologist is fulfilling. Helping children find their voice, whether it's through speech therapy or communication strategies, is always meaningful. Today, you're working with a student who has made significant progress. There's a moment of connection when they say a word they've struggled with for months. You can't help but smile, proud of the growth and your role in it. Are you still there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Lunch comes around, and instead of rushing through, you take time to check in with a close friend. You send a quick text to plan an afternoon walk. You've both been meaning to catch up, and what a better way than to do a walk, to walk, talk, and enjoy the outdoors. You value these friendships deeply, and making time for them is non-negotiable. It's not just about chatting, it's supporting each other spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. A solid friendship is an anchor to your busy life. By 4:30, you meet your friend at the park for a leisurely walk. You both enjoy the rhythm of moving together, talking about life, work, families, and your spiritual practices. As you walk, you share stories about your kids, your work, and your thoughts on how you're each growing personally. There's something so grounding about having these conversations while walking in nature with the fresh air and your body in motion. It's not just exercise, it's a reconnection with someone who fills your cup. After the walk, you part ways with a hug, both of you feeling lighter and more energized from the time together. You head home where your family is waiting. You prepare a nourishing dinner, something vibrant and balanced: grilled salmon, roasted veggies, and quinoa. The meal is simple, yet filled with love and intention. The kids are at the table chattering about their day. Your husband is there helping to finish cooking, and you all sit down together to share the meal. It's not just about the food, it's about the quality time, the laughter, and the shared stories of your day. Once dinner is over, there's more time for connection. You help the boys with homework, laugh about the little things. This made me cry.
Yeah.
And talk
Beautiful.
about future plans, vacations, activities, and things you want to try as a family. So it's just so visual, like you can see it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. You can really see it.
Afterward, your husband and you sit together for a few quiet moments. Maybe you watch a show you both enjoy, or maybe you simply talk about how the day went. Either way, it's uninterrupted time where you're both present with each other. By 9 p.m., the screens are turned off, the house is quiet, and you take a few moments to unwind. You've set your phone aside, knowing that a good night's sleep is non negotiable. You reflect on your day, how you balanced work, health, family, and friendships, and feel proud of how everything flowed. You feel deeply connected to yourself, your loved ones, and the people you help throughout your work. Before bed, you spend a few minutes checking in with your spiritual practices, maybe through prayer or meditation, centering yourself for the night. Your mind is calm, your body is tired but satisfied, and your heart is full of gratitude. You close your eyes knowing you've truly lived today, mindfully, intentionally, and with purpose. Tomorrow you'll do it over again. You rest deeply knowing you are living in alignment with your values and the life you always wanted to create. As the morning light peeks through, again you wake up refreshed and ready to embrace another beautiful day.
Wow. That is incredible. Like the
Isn't
visual
it?
to it, and for all of those of us, which many of us are listening to this, are very visual. That was beautiful.
Wasn't
Absolutely
it?
beautiful. Yeah. And
Yeah.
um, something that I made a couple notes here, and something that I think is so important for us to remember. I know that there are some people that have fear of using AI and ChatGPT, and you know, because of many of the changes that are happening in our world. And what I want to remind you is that, like anything else, like when it comes to finances, when it comes to anything that we use as a tool, it is the intention of the user. And when we use something, because anything can be used for nefarious reasons, including psychic abilities and things like that. You know, anything can be used in a different way depending on the intention of the user. But what we have to remember is when we're using something like this, it can provide beauty, it can provide a snapshot, the visual, it can provide us a snapshot or our own movie, our own story that maybe we're in a moment that we're not sure how to put together. It
Hmm.
gives us direction of what's most important to us. Because I know you, Maren, listening to that back, you really see what is most important in your life and where that fulfillment truly is. And, what I wrote down before you read this was in the affirming where we are today. Because when we put together something like this, and I believe this is a good thing, it brings up those feelings of, is that how I feel right now? Do I feel that way? Because we know in life that our feelings can come forward, and depending on where we are in our feeling with ourselves, maybe we look and go, but that's not how I think about myself, or that's not how I feel when I wake up in the morning. And so it's a reminder to be able to accept where you are today and to not look at what we are affirming or what we are working towards as something unattainable. It's to show us the things, like you said, it was more of affirming really what you're already doing.
So I think that that's what it is it was very affirming for me because I wanted, I put down spend quality time with my kids and I thought it was going to say, and then you go off with your kids and you do this, this, and this. And like it was, no, I'm helping them with their homework and that's their quality time. And when you're helping kids with your homework, you're not thinking that it's quality time.
Right.
But there's something about reading that story and being the third person and like looking at my life
Yes.
and going,
Yes.
no, that's love. That's
Yes.
quality time. Like I think I'm so hard on myself. Like, am I
Yeah.
giving my husband enough? Am I giving my kids enough? Am I giving everybody enough? And this year, a lot of my goals are like giving back to me, like putting up the boundaries for myself
Yeah.
and making
Yeah.
myself a priority.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and friendships and relationships and
Yeah.
all of that, like the
Yeah.
time to all that a priority. And so, yeah, to like just see my life and see how similar it is to what I have going on, and just how there's just these little tweaks that need to happen to make it be the life that I want,
Yeah.
is
Yes,
so it is very affirming. It's
it
so
is.
affirming to know I'm so close and this is how beautiful my life is. And
Yes.
um so but
And there's
just
so
in
many
case,
variances that you can do to that too, right? Like
oh
it's
yes,
triggering so many ideas because you could you could break it right down to scenarios like this is what I do right now. This is what I want to achieve. What are the practical steps I can take to help me
yeah.
have
Okay,
more
so
time?
that's the next step.
Okay.
So
Okay.
then the next question that you ask ChatGPT, especially if you are doing something, I kept mine very simple for the
Yeah.
purposes of sharing, but like if there's,
Yeah.
don't go big with your goals. So then the next thing you ask ChatGPT is, let me see exactly how I wrote it. Okay. Tell me the steps I need to take to make this story happen. Okay. And so it says to turn your story into reality, it's all about creating systems and habits that align with your values and allow you to be consistent. Here's a step-by-step guide to help you live the life you've described. 1, start with a clear vision. Define your ideal day. Spend time reflecting on what makes you feel fulfilled and balanced. You've already done this to some degree by imagining your day, but write down specific details how you want to feel and how you want to accomplish each area of your life. Identify your values, what matters most to you: family, health, spirituality, personal growth, friendships. What core values help you prioritize the right things in your life? 2, set daily and weekly routines. So your morning routine and prepare that. I'm not going to go into all the details, but
Yeah.
your morning
Yeah.
routine, prepare for the night, healthy eating, meal planning, mindful eating. When it's time to eat, create space for it, eat without distractions, and focus on the taste and nourishment of your food. 3, work and professional life, balance and purpose, set boundaries, and reflect on your impact. Take At the end of each workday, take 5 to 10 minutes to journal about one meaningful interaction or breakthrough you had with the student. 4, maintain spiritual practices and relationships. Create a spiritual connection. Schedule regular check ins with your spiritual friends. Set aside a time for prayer. Uh, prioritize friendships. And then 5, family time and quality connections. Um, and then 7, optimize your sleep routine. So I mean mine were very basic.
Yeah.
I will say there was one I did I had one affirmation that I put in there, and then I didn't like how it turned out in my day, so then I redid the affirmations without
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
And so the story was like a little different the second time around when it
Yeah.
came to like my spiritual friends. And there was this um I just love this because it reminded me of you guys, because I wanted to like, have those friendships and the spiritual connections. And it said, during your lunch break, you text a couple of your spiritual friends who are your soul sisters, people you can laugh with, cry with, and grow with. You share a quick prayer and check in on each other. You make time for these relationships because they nourish you. Later in the day, a friend invites you to join a small chat group for a spiritual reflection. But anyways, that reminded me of you guys. So I
Yeah.
wish that was in the second
And
story
that's
too, but I can always make it happen.
yes. Well, and but that is happening. Like right now, we have that version of it. There is something that, like, I feel like I've got cobwebs dropping on. Maybe I'm being touched or something dropping on my face. You see me waving my stuff. um, but that is happening as we check in with each other, and we're checking in with everyone. So we don't always have that personal, you know, group
Yeah.
say that back and forth every day. But I don't know about you, Maren, but like I feel so much from everybody that watches with us and comments. And it's not only that, but the stories that come,
Yeah.
like the
Yes.
the I
Personal
heard you
stories that
guys
everyone shared.
talk, and
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
like it's so
Yeah. I do that
reflective and
too.
helpful.
I do that. So yeah, instead of, checking a text message, I'll check the comments. I'll be like, oh, I
Yeah,
wonder if anybody,
yeah,
shared about this.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
truly enjoy reading the comments because it does make me feel like
yeah,
we're really part of like a
yeah,
community or I guess a spiritual group, but like a book
yeah.
club. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
you're just, what did so and so say about this? What did so and so say? Yeah.
Because we
So,
all have common goals, and that's what's so important is um, connecting and having that common goal of honesty and really being ourselves without
hmm
feeling like we have to hold back, like we have to hold parts of us back. That nurturing and that non-judgment, which I think is so important for all of us,
hmm
that fosters growth and the
hmm
acceptance of many different stages, many different dreams, many different ideas. And that it's beautiful. But that right there, like Maren, that is so good. That is so
Isn't that
good and so
amazing?
helpful. Yeah, yeah,
Yes, it really is. And, I think too, like when you put out wild manifestations and you're like, how is this really going to fit into my life? And then you see it all fit and you're like, oh, wow,
yeah,
like I want that, or
yes,
I'm closer than I think, or,
yeah.
like, oh, that's how it would work. Okay.
And here's even like some kind of fun ideas. Like let's say, okay, I'm being told something to share it here too, so I'm just gonna say this.
Okay. Okay.
Um, use this like we would a pendulum, like we would our card,
Yeah.
right? Because with everything, and like Maren, like you said, I saw an affirmation and it didn't quite feel right, or something was just a little off because it's a tool. It's not going to be 100%. But remember the connection that we are developing more and more. It's aligning with that feeling. So just like with the pendulum, I'm going to get an answer. I'm going to get a direction by using my pendulum, but this is what I'm feeling along with this, or this is so I might get a yes to something, and I'm like, but yes doesn't really make sense to how I need
Yeah.
to do this. So don't think of it as replacing your connection with your guides or working towards, because our guides will show us the way. Think of
Yeah.
it as building a building block to fill in the gap as you're building your
hmm
communication. And it is so amazing, an amazing tool. Because let's say, here's an example that was popping in my mind when I was hearing this. Let's say, let's say you're manifesting a deeper relationship with somebody, a friendship, a parent, it doesn't matter who it is. And you're in a space right now where you're not on great terms of speaking. And you're like, well, I've asked guidance. I'm asking my guides. My guides are saying, yes, our relationship is going to get better. My guides are saying, trust, have hope, pay attention to your own journey, pay attention to yourself. Okay, great, great. I got that. I believe that. I know that. I know that's true. I'm seeing the signs. I'm feeling things. I don't know what else to do. I'm not sure how exactly should I focus on myself. How is focusing on myself connecting to the energy of this other person? Right? So we think about all these little thoughts that come in from day to day as
hmm
we're thinking about missing that relationship, right?
So what's so funny is that I've already done that. So, um,
Okay,
yeah,
again, this is
that
not
must be,
prepared.
I know.
Yeah,
So when I had first, heard about this activity and I've kind of been like working what my affirmations would be in my head. And one of them is to, have a better relationship with someone. And then I kind of like put it off because I was like, well, that takes two to tango, right? Like you can't
yeah,
really have a
yeah,
better relationship. They're not wanting to have a better relationship. So like, I'm not gonna make that my affirmation. And then, I was like, well, what would, and then it, so like I had a thought that I was kind of like sad about the state of our relationship. And I was like, well, what would ChatGTP tell me to do? And I was like,
Yeah.
ChatGTP would tell me to call him. Like, I need to call him. So I did that. So I reached out and called. And then we had a really long, great conversation. And so that would have never happened if I wouldn't have thought, this is what I want. This is the step to get it. And then it happened. So,
And
um,
and don't be afraid to get detailed with it, because what if like, let's put in the nuances to it. Like, I'm not speaking to this person. Maybe they're not open to speaking to me right now, as far as I know, and I'm afraid of rejection. Give me advice
honestly,
if you were a spirit
I
guide.
feel like ChatGTP would be able to like tell you what to do in that
Yes,
situation.
yes, I agree. I agree, because
Hold on. Tell me it again. Tell me it again.
okay,
I'm what?
all right. So put in there, pretend you are a spirit guide.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
and tell me what to do
Okay.
if the relationship with my parents
Okay.
is in a place of no communication.
Okay.
And
And
I wish that we were able to be much closer.
okay.
And this parent has made it clear they do not approve or want to speak to me. What steps can I take to improve this situation?
Okay.
For funsies, this would be interesting.
I know. Do we agree with ChatGTP's
Yeah.
assessment here? Okay, this is what they would say, or
Okay.
what ChatGPT would say. Ah, my dear one, I see the pain in your heart. Relationships, especially those with our parents, can carry deep wounds, ones that feel heavy and hard to untangle. But I want to guide you gently through this, step by step. Healing takes time, and sometimes it requires patience, self compassion, and a shift in perspective. You are not alone in this journey, even if it feels the path is unclear. Let's take this one step at a time. One, start with compassion for yourself. Before reaching out to anyone, you must soften the space within you. Take a deep breath and acknowledge the hurt, the disappointment, the confusion. It's okay to feel all of that, but also remind yourself that you are worthy of love, respect, and understanding, regardless of the current state of the relationship. Allow yourself to feel the emotions and then hold yourself with tenderness. You're doing the best you can with the circumstances you've been given. Take a moment each day for yourself, each day for self compassion, practices, journaling, meditating, and breathing. Reconnect to your own heart and remind yourself that you have value independent of your relationship with your parents. This is your foundation. Wow, that's definitely a very good first start. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Two, release control, open your heart. It's clear you want closeness, but remember, true closeness comes from mutual openness, not force. This parent has made it clear that they are not ready for connection, and while it's painful, you must respect the space in this moment. Healing often comes in waves, and sometimes others need more time than we might hope. In this space, practice releasing control over the situation. Focus on your own growth and healing and allow them time and space they need. You can't change them, but you can change how you move forward. 3, inner reflection and forgiveness. What is it that you wish in this relationship? Is it peace, understanding, acknowledgement, or simply a chance to be seen? Get clear on what you need for your own healing and then ask yourself, what can I forgive? Forgiveness does not mean excusing hurtful behavior. It means freeing your own heart from the weight of resentment and anger. Reflect on what might need to be forgiven, perhaps certain words or actions from the past that can still carry emotional weight. Forgiveness is first and foremost for you. It does not require them to change their stance. It requires you to choose peace. You may consider writing a letter, not one you necessarily send, but one where you pour out your heart, express everything you feel, write to the parent who is distant, telling them how you feel, but without expectations of a response. Sometimes the mere act of expressing your emotions in writing can release the grip they hold over you. 4, set the intention for healing. Now, hold an intention for healing, not necessarily for reconciliation immediately, but for healing within yourself. This is important. You must feel whole before you can expect anything from others. Hold the vision of a future where the relationship is lighter. Hold it where it holds understanding and peace. But know that the vision will evolve. Send out a prayer or a thought to the universe, to God, to your higher self. I am open to healing, to understanding, and to right timing for reconnection. I trust that the right way will unfold. Place this intention for healing not only for yourself, but also for your parent. Visualize love surrounding both of you, even if you feel separate right now. I love that. 5, let me see how many there are. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, they're on 8. There's 8 steps. We're on 5. Okay, reaching out with open hands when you're ready. Once you have given yourself time to heal and reflect, and once you feel a shift in your heart, when you no longer are acting out of pain, but from a place of peace and clarity, then you may feel called to reach out. But be mindful of their boundaries. If they have expressed a clear desire for no contact, reaching out might feel like a violation of their space. In this case, consider sending a message, something simple and non-invasive, just a small gesture of care. You could express, I've been thinking of you and I hope you're doing well. If you ever feel ready to talk, I'll be here. This isn't about pressuring them, but simply leaving the door open. Respect their space and then wait. If they choose not to engage, know that it's not a reflection of your worth, but simply a sign of where they are on their own journey. You may need to leave the door open for a long time and trust that in the right moment, they may walk through it. 6, release expectation of immediate change. When you reach out, don't hold expectations of an immediate change or a perfect resolution. Change happens in its own time, and it's important to allow both you and them the space to grow. Building a relationship, especially one that has been fractured, takes time, and progress can often be slow and uneven. This means there may be periods of distance, but trust in the long-term potential. 7, seek support along the way. This journey can feel lonely, especially when navigating difficult family dynamics. Surround yourself with a strong support network: friends, spiritual companions, mentors, and therapists. Seek those that can hold space for you to process your emotions and reflect without judgment. These individuals can help you maintain clarity when the situation with your parents feels overwhelming. Consider connecting with a counselor or a therapist that can support you in processing your feelings, especially around forgiveness, letting go, and setting healthy boundaries. Sometimes having a neutral person to guide you through your emotions can create clarity and peace. And last one, number 8, trust the flow of life. Finally, trust the flow of life. You cannot force things, but you can set the intention for healing, for growth, and for connection. Trust that as you walk your path with integrity, compassion, and openness, the universe, life, and divine timing will bring the lessons and connections you need. Remember that this is a process, not a destination. Even if your relationship with your parents doesn't look the way you hoped right now, It doesn't mean it won't evolve or shift in the future. The healing starts with you, in your heart, in your willingness to let go, to forgive, and to hold hope for what could be. You are not alone, and all things will unfold in their own time as long as you continue to walk forward with love in your heart and peace in your soul. Stay strong, dear one.
Love the dear one.
I know.
Hello,
Don't
dear
forget,
one.
I am your spirit guide.
I am your spirit guide, dear one. That's pretty funny. But I mean, I
That
can tell
was,
you the energy that I'm feeling here. There's a lot of agreement coming through from spirit. That is, yes, that is the bones of the process. And I was writing notes down as you were talking, and like there's things you could put in there, like, okay, how would I break down steps to feel more worthy? How do I work through unworthiness? How do I work through rejection? How do I, so like you can tailor it. You could really get in there
yeah.
and break it
Hmm.
down for yourself. Now, of course, the big piece of it is actually doing it,
Yeah. Hmm.
because out of everything, I can tell you for years and years, I would get the feelings, the information of what I needed to do, and I wouldn't do it. I
Hmm.
knew what I needed to do a lot of times, but I wouldn't do it because I felt an enormous responsibility, and it was my own sabotaging myself.
Hmm.
That fear of failing, that fear of not really knowing what that looked like, or even the fear of this is a load of shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I'll be
Oh, yeah.
honest,
You're like, why
right?
do I have to be the big person? These are my parents. Why, well, yeah.
Like all of that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Um, those are the things that come up in us that would be described, as many of us here, as the shadows, as the,
Hmm.
all of these pieces, because if we look at this energetically and we look at this understanding the brain, our mind, our brains, the way that the physical mind, the ego is developed is to protect. It is based on
Hmm.
survival. And so what are we protecting? Well, many of us at this point aren't necessarily protecting ourselves in the jungle from a wild animal. We're
Yeah, we don't need
protecting,
to attack. Yeah.
right? We're protecting ourselves from pain, from hurt, from rejection. And so going into that place of actually working on those things, this is why these big events like loss, like, addiction, with recovery, with dropping down to a place in our life where we truly are like, what have I got to lose? I've got to do something, because, and that was
Hmm.
mine, like that was me. So having a diagnosis of, I got to do something because what I'm doing is not working. And what I knew
Hmm.
that I was not doing was I could preach the advice to others, but I wasn't doing it for myself, or I wouldn't
Hmm.
continue. I would do some things, but I would never get to the place of really receiving the true benefit, because all
Hmm.
of those things, and this is the truth, all of those things are really, you know, they're all words unless we apply them and actually do them to
Hmm.
start to shift our perspective.
I think what I heard when I said why do I have to, that's what I always say. Like,
Yeah,
why do I have
yeah,
to be the bigger
yeah,
person? That's like my common, like when I'm on the healing journey and
yeah,
trying to like do the right thing, I'm always like, why am I always the one that has to do the right thing?
yeah, yeah,
And there's this quote that I heard a few weeks ago, and I have repeated it to myself repeatedly over the last
yeah,
few weeks. And it's, I'm sure you might have heard it before, but we can't control the wind, but we can control our sails.
yeah,
And I think the healing journey really is about creating, if you use the boat metaphor, this very strong and stable and grounded boat that is
yeah,
able to float and, move. And there is going to be so much as a boat. You're going to have big waves, you're going to have winds, you're going to have storms, you're going to have whatever. But as
Yes.
long as we can just focus on our boat, that's what's going to give us the most healing, the most safety, the most, and really safety, I feel like is the number one thing. Is like,
Yes.
that's what
It's
most
building that
conflicts are about.
security,
Yeah.
right? Like building the security within ourselves, because when these things, because life, like we talk about this a lot, Maren, life still happens, you know,
Yeah.
you will still
Yes. We
get
talk about that all
disappointed,
the time.
right? Like
Yeah.
we'll get
Yeah.
disappointed by people.
Yeah.
You know, hard times can come around. It's
Mm-hmm.
when you do the consistency of that work, and whatever, say, has initiated that pain, to do that,
Mm-hmm.
it begins to spill into other areas of your life. And even with just choosing a relationship with a parent, which I know a lot of people have that challenge, it doesn't matter what kind of relationship it is. But remember, if you're being triggered by somebody specific, let's say that person has hurt you so bad, you feel so hurt, and you don't know how to restore that. Remember that the truth of that trigger is to bring you back to yourself,
Yeah.
not because the truth is that you have to reconcile with what they did to you. Like it's not like what you were saying is forgiveness or reconciling something that hurt. Yes, understanding it and understanding the best of your ability where they may be coming from is very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth is getting to the root of why that hurt so bad and what's really behind that. Because where that person you might be holding as the objective of, I really want that relationship back, or I want it to work, or you know, that may be your objective in the beginning. But as you go through the process, you may realize that, wait a minute, it's not really about that at all. And you begin to have more acceptance for where that person is. And suddenly it's not, you might see that, wait a minute, I'm not aligned with that person truly. And I was holding on to something or trying to make something work because of my fear or my
Mm-hmm.
not seeing myself, or you see what I mean? So there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of different things that happen in the process of healing, that when it is a situation, a loss of relationship, job, something that we've attached ourselves to that changes, when that comes forward, the path of healing suddenly does not become centered on necessarily what it was that brought up the healing, but it starts to uncover many different pieces of what maybe we had disconnected from for whatever reasons with ourselves that we weren't seeing. And we begin to realize the distraction of what other people outside of us or situations have pulled us away from. And that's why, and this was something big for me, the drama of other people. So I would keep my stuff kind of quiet to a degree, but I would have a lot of different things going on me, and it was easier for me to help somebody else and kind of keep going into what was going on with them, because I was too tired to look at myself at the end of the day. So I could just say, well,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just so exhausted because of what's going on with
Mm-hmm.
them, or I can't focus on myself because I'm always doing this. So I could always tell myself something at the end of the day that would make it okay for me to continue not really looking at what I needed to do. And that's not it's not a shameful thing. I know we carry shame. It's normal to feel those feelings, but that shame can be really hard to look at, especially when we start to pull out all of those. And I'm speaking about myself here, pulling out all of those, like, oh my gosh, like that's what I believed, or I didn't see that, or I didn't see the connection my child needed with me so much at that time because I was too busy focused over here. It brings up a lot of feeling, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
responsibility. But when we do that, just like our spirit guide GPT said, just like right? We'll call that spirit guide GPT. So just
Love it.
like that, right? Having self-compassion is really that, I think, that foundation and that staple to be able to hold that for ourselves as we do look at these hard things, as we do work through it. And
Hmm.
that will only come by the consistency of doing it, of adapting the habits and the practices and the mindset, the belief. And that you really have to take that in bites and bits, because we're not trained as children. Many of us were
Hmm.
not taught self-compassion.
Hmm.
And those of us that come together on a deep feeling journey found it easier to have compassion for other people and not ourselves.
Hmm.
But when we learn real self-compassion and what that really feels like, it's having a sense of neutrality and being able to see ourselves as a child, consistently coming back to a place of, I didn't know that, I didn't understand that about myself, and understanding that we made decisions based on the choices we were aware of and how we
Hmm.
felt at the time. And so, why would we beat ourselves up our entire life, even if other people are doing that to us? It's within our control to not beat ourselves up for things, and to be able to say, I forgive myself. And I'm going to every day forgive myself and give myself that love and that nurturing. Because when we do that, the frequency to source, to God, spirit, becomes so much wider. And I'll say again, why is that? Because God is part of us, is within us, and loving ourselves and having compassion is loving God, and that opens that up.
I just think that's such a serious step that I think we skip over. And even if you address it, I just don't think we're addressing it enough. Like, I can think about my most recent argument where um it's like, yeah, I did what I thought was best. Um, but it still hurts me that this is not amended, and I want to skip over me and that stage so that I can fix this. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
But if you were to stay in, or if I were to have stayed in that stage of giving myself that self-compassion, then I feel like maybe I wouldn't have been in such a rush or to fix it. I
yeah,
also feel like there's a pain, obviously, there's a pain
yeah,
associated with um whenever we're in fights, right? Like, I've
yeah,
caused you pain, you've
yeah,
caused me pain. There's this
yes,
physical pain, and we always want to jump to stopping the pain. I
yes,
don't want this
yes,
pain, get this pain
yeah,
out, whatever I need to do to fix it. And maybe that's why you're in a rush to fix it. Um, and I feel like sometimes you kind of have to just be okay with that pain
yes,
for a minute,
yes,
right? And
yeah,
then just
yeah,
have self-compassion. But I just took this mindfulness certification, and that's what they say is, like, a lot of times we rush, so we don't like pain, that we rush so much to get out of that pain state, or we avoid to get out of that pain state, or we're just so uncomfortable with that pain state, and that we need
yeah,
to sit in the pain state more and accept the pain feelings, which I
yes.
feel like is all, and can be healed more with that
It's
self-compassion
true.
than it is with the fixing of the relationship.
Yes, because feeling and the process of healing is not avoidance of the difficult feeling. Because
Mhm.
when we look at emotion and feelings, although feelings of euphoria and happiness feel better, if we were to look at it as an equation, one is really not better than the other. They have
Mhm.
a productive value to them. They have an experience to
Mhm.
them. And the negative feelings or the feelings of pain have a great deal of power to them. Because
Mhm.
when we're able to not rush through it, And like I called myself like a serial ghoster. When I feel
Mhm.
pain and I didn't like confrontation, I would either have a confrontation and then completely step away from a relationship, or just put them on the other side of the fence and be like,
Mhm.
nope, nope, that's done. Or I would do whatever I could to fix it, fix it, fix it.
Mhm.
I would have like one or the other and would go back and forth depending on, whatever state I was in. But truly, and I'm going to say this too, because this is coming up. Um, as we're on this journey, and for many of us, there's lots of people in our lives, our family members, whether they're our, immediate or in-laws or, different family members that we're used to or have known us throughout our life. And once we have the awareness and we're doing this work with more consistency, those changes within us are quite apparent to us because we are
Mhm.
on this momentum of really seeing things differently and seeing the result of how we feel, seeing and feeling the results of, whoa, wait a minute, that's not good with me anymore. Like I'm not okay with that. We have to remember, and this is what I learned from myself, is there was a period of euphoria that I felt from the realization that I had a sense of freedom in practicing my own self-compassion, practicing looking at the mistakes that I had made. So I was becoming more clear with myself, but at the same time, that didn't always relate to everyone else around me because they're still looking at me from the perspective that they've always known me. And that can be a bit of a trap that we can get ourselves in relationships because it drums up a lot of frustration because we, as on the healing journey, as healers, as wanting that for those around us and for those that we love, we want to incite and put all of that on everybody else. And I found myself getting in this trap of trying to prove that I had learned different, that I had changed. And many of us go into that state of withdrawal from friends and family during that time because the changes are so profound within us that it
Mhm.
almost becomes hard to tolerate behaviors around us, even though those people have done nothing to change the way they've always been. It becomes more intense as we're feeling it. So it's a reminder to be okay with where other people are at too, and to understand that as we continue to develop these deeper understandings for ourselves, that it's okay that other people don't understand that. It really is. And it's baby steps of having compassion for ourselves in the frustration that comes from those interactions, because it really all does take time. And
Mhm.
as we continue to do this, we have more clarity, and that compassion becomes an acceptance. And I found that I'm able to communicate so much better today, being completely fine with other people being exactly where they are, and having, if somebody wanted to ask me questions and they were really interested in making change in their life, I'd be right there. But I don't need to tell them how they need to heal. I don't know the choices that they make every day and why. And it's none of my business, and that's how we grow. We are meant to grow. We are meant to evolve and change, but not everybody's going to do it. And there's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't invalidate another person's experience. And in fact, the people in my life where I felt the most pain brought out the deeper things within myself that I needed to address.
Mhm.
And so I'm grateful. I'm thankful that I had those experiences.
Mhm.
So a lot of it is continuous shifting of perspective and that inner
Mhm.
reflection. And, somebody said to me last week, does this ever stop? Like, do we always heal? Like, are we always like, one lady said to me, I've been healing for like 12 years. I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. But you don't have to keep going over the same thing. It eventually, as we do the work, and it really depends on how much are you willing to put into it. And the more you invest in yourself, the more you will get out of it. Just like I feel like I'm in school and the teacher's saying to me, Michelle, if you would only apply yourself, you have so much potential if you'd only apply yourself, but we don't always believe in ourselves or believe in what's possible. And when we see other people, like I remember being younger and I'd look at these success stories and kind of like we were talking about in the beginning, these stories, these inspirational stories, and how amazing things turned out for them. We really don't realize what that person has worked through.
Yeah.
Because as a society, we tend to see the end results and make assumptions as to why a person is in that experience in their life without realizing what has really gone on in that person's life to bring them there. So it's pretty amazing stuff that you brought out today with that. And I think that is really, really helpful, a really helpful tool to play around with and navigate and write your own healing journey. Use it
Mhm.
for manifestation.
Mhm.
You know?
What I loved about it too, not to like rehash as we're closing out, but
Yeah.
one thing that I thought was so important was one of my issues is like I put everybody else first, right? And like I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. I put
Yeah.
everybody else
Yeah.
first. But I loved that it used so much detail as to why each thing that I manifested was important for my life.
Yes.
Like the walk with a friend, like I would cancel that. That would be the first thing that would get canceled out of my day.
Yeah.
Walk with a friend. Sorry, I got to go to the grocery store. I've got to, cook my healthy dinner.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got things I got to do. I can't do this walk. But then to hear it was like this walk is so important because this walk helps you spiritually, this walk helps you physically, this walk helps you mentally, this walk helps you
Yes.
ground, this you need the fresh air. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was so many reasons why it pointed out
Yeah.
that this walk is good for me. And so it's
Yeah.
like, oh my God, like I need to do that every day. So,
And that's
you
good
know,
because I'll leave it with this. On Instagram, I made a post this week at some point, and in my morning writing, what was coming out was identifying the benefit to why we do the things we do.
there
And
you go.
I, what is it that I do that I may not really want to do,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to do it because I enjoy the result afterwards. I enjoy what it gives
Mm-hmm.
me. Like, what is the benefit? Because if we
Mm-hmm.
can understand the intention of what it is that we want and why we're doing it and the benefit to it, we can really navigate through things that we do. And our time is precious.
Mm-hmm.
Our hours in the day are precious. And, not even to get into the conversation about bending time and all of those things, but the truth is, we do have uh, every day to fill our days with things that we feel good about and
Mm-hmm.
understanding why we do them,
Mm-hmm.
understanding who we engage with, why we engage with them, what is the true benefit, and being as honest as we can with ourselves as to why will really help uncover the truth, uncover patterns, and allow us to start making decisions that are based on our intentions, our benefits, and our fulfillment in life. And that can only be done by each and every one of us. Nobody can do that for you. That is a personal process. That's the, that's it. You have to believe in yourself enough to put in the hard work bit by bit to give yourself the results of fulfillment that will take you through the wave so that your sales, you're able to manipulate those sales and turn them in whatever way you need to have a more fulfilling, more exciting, more creative, a life filled with love. Because essentially at the end of the day, when it's all of our turns to transition, we're not taking anything with us. We're not taking material. We're not taking the money. We're not taking any of that stuff. But we're taking the love. We're taking what we are. And I think that's a beautiful awareness to have, to live with. And that's the end of my TED Talk today.
I literally could sit here for the rest of the day and just
Yeah.
talk about love, manifestations,
Yeah.
healing.
It's true. It's true. Anybody, if they would like to fund us to do seminars, Maren and I are here all day. We will travel to your community and we will put together, actually, we probably will at one point, but I know.
I would love that.
Yeah.
That's definitely on the big list of my manifestations is to make this a full-time gig because this
Yeah.
fills me up so much every
It does.
Sunday for us, Monday for you guys.
Yeah.
So
It sure does.
mhm.
So I guess that's it for today. We're
Yeah, that was good. That was really long. Thanks for hanging with us, everyone.
Yeah, no, it's really long. So
There's so much
I
to talk
know
about.
a lot of folks say that they listen to us while they are driving, or sometimes they listen to us throughout their drive, so they keep going back to it. Some people are doing their housework, and so whatever you're doing right now, we love you, and we're so glad you're here and listening, and
Yes.
hope that you have some enjoyment and fulfillment of today to carry on into the rest of your week.
Yeah. Thanks for joining the One Stop Spirit Shop.
Yep. One stop soul
We should be
shop right
spiritual.
here.
Yes. One stop spiritual shop. All right.
Okay.
Well, thanks so much, everyone. Have a great week. Stay warm if you're on the cold side of the earth, and
stay cool if you're on the hot
stay cool
side.
if you're on the hot side. Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.